So what we're going to talk about now is the channel functions on the Oracle console. The way in which this is laid out, it's designed to be familiar to any users of SSL consoles. We kind of use the same layout in terms of top to bottom workflow as we do with other analog SSL consoles. So this is a complete channel strip here, all the way down. This is one channel strip. This is another channel strip. This is another channel strip. So this section right here is actually 8 channels worth of console. And the way that we choose which bank or which bay we're looking at is with this button here. So right now I am looking at 9 through 16 on this section right here. If I want to, I can look at 1 through 8 by pressing this. Now it shows me 1 through 8. And it's actually mirroring this on there, so I'm actually looking at the same thing. So one of the cool things about digitally controlled analog is it can change. So 1 through 8, 9 through 16, 17 through 24, 25 through 32, 33 through 40, 41 through 48. So this is 6 lots of 8 layers, 8 channels of console that I've got here. So if I just go back to 9 through 16 now, you see, when I make that change to 9 through 16, it also changes my names here. So these are the names we put in our computer earlier. So this particular bay has all of my toms and vocals on there, and acoustic guitars.
And let's say you want to jump to 48.
Yep, press that button right there. Press that right there, and you'll see it moves the faders. It actually moves all of the controls as well. It updates my routing display. It does everything. So this is the quick way to jump around. So in reality, I mean, we have a 48 channel console here, but if I wanted to, I could just live in this section and not move anywhere else. I could just work here and just have all of those channels come to me just by pressing these bay access buttons right here. So it's a really quick way of working, but also it means I can stay where I can hear things properly.
Is there a way to tie the 16 together to where when you hit the button it changes 16, not just 8?
There will be. There isn't today, but there will be. Yeah, we're working on that. So that's been a really popular request. Yeah, we're going to work on that. There's going to be a couple of cool things coming in the next few months, and that's one of them as well. So yes, we will have that. So if we look at this particular channel right here, on a traditional analog console, basically you move the pot, it does the thing. That's really it. And this is exactly the same as that. So on the top of the channel, I have a gain control here, which is my mic gain. And I know that because I'm on mic right here. If I want to change to be monitor trim, I can. When I press this now, it's instead of being the mic gain, it is now the monitor gain, like that. Okay, so this changes between those two functions, like so. Down from there, I have a button here which is phase reverse, or polarity more accurately, and then also I've got a 48 volt button as well. So this is where I do phantom power. So this is a press and hold function. The reason I know it's a press and hold function is because it's got a little clock symbol next to it. So anywhere you see that little clock symbol, that's press and hold, basically. And then down from there I have a filter. So every channel has a high pass filter. And down from there, I'm going to go really quick now. I've got AUXes and I've got EQ. Now that's all cool, and this is what normally happens on an analog console, is we have all of the functions, we turn the pots, it does whatever you need it to. The difference between this one though, this is digitally controlled analog, so all of these things are resettable, but also if we want to see these in more detail, we can actually bring them up on this screen here. So this is now showing me the large fader level and the small fader level on this screen right here. It can look at other things as well. So instead of having this bar graph meter like that, I can press this and now I have VU meters. So I can have VU meters here. If I wanted to, I could display VUs there as well. So, but the other thing that it will display for me is an overview display of just that one channel. I do that by pressing the little TV detail view button here. So when I press this button now it's looking at whichever channel I have selected. So if I I'm pressing channel select 9 now, it's looking at channel 9. If I press next to it, I get 10, 11, 12, all the way up. So I can look at any one of these channels in detail just by this. So now you'll see, if I move this pot, you'll see actually it highlights this here, because this is the pot that I'm moving, okay? So I've got my gain here on my mic pre. If I switch to this, I've now got my monitor trim by switching that button. This is my filter pot right here, and then my aux section is here. So actually my augs are my small faders. So whichever section is highlighted here is what I'm doing. So this right now is a small fader. So if I move these pots, it moves my small fader pan and gain. But if I press down on it to be augs 1 and 2, now it is doing augs 1 there and augs 2, and these are my on buttons for augs 1 and 2. If I press it again, it's now doing augs 3 and augs 4, and those are my buttons for augs 3 and 4. If I press it again, it highlights 5 and 6, and I'll do 5 and 6, and then I'll change the gain there on 5 and 6. So we've actually got 10 augses, and those 10 augses can be either mono, or if you wanted to, you can make them stereo, and if they were stereo, you would have 5 stereo augses. So all of that is done here on these purple knobs. And we've done a lot of color coding on this, so the pot color matches the screen color, and that's true for everything you see on here. Everything is the same color as on the screen, so we're trying to get you familiar with the layouts just by using all of the color coding on there. So augses are done there. Then after the aux section, the next bit, aux section is that. The next bit down is the EQ. So this is down here basically. So this is our EQ section right here. So you'll see when I touch the pots in the EQ section, it's highlighting. I've got the high frequency band there, which are the red. I've got the high mid, which is the green. I've got the low mid, which is the blue, and then I've got the low frequency, which is the grey down there on the bottom. So when I turn one of these controls, it actually does this, and it shows me on the screen. So my EQ section is really similar to other analog SSLs like the 9000 range. So we have two types of EQ curves. We've got E series and G series, and that's displayed right here. So if I want to change my EQ type, I compress here, and it changes between the E and the G series curves, like that. Okay. The other thing that I can do is my high frequency, if I want to, instead of having that be a bell curve, I can make a shelving, I can make it a bell curve. So pressing bell now makes that a bell curve on the high frequency, and I've got the exact same button on the low frequency as well. So if I want to make that be a bell curve, I have a bell button right there on the low frequency. To press my EQ in circuit, I've got an EQ in button there, and the EQ in button has a little clock symbol next to it for reset as well. So if I press and hold this reset now, what you will see it do is it will change the gain, it will reset the gains on here all to 0. It'll keep the frequencies where they are, but it will reset the gains to 0. So it just zeroes that out there for you.
It didn't change your frequency, just the gain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't change the frequency. That's on purpose. Just we're going to assume that it's there at a frequency you want it to be at, but it resets the gain for you. Okay. So, so that's how the EQ works. The EQ, E and G, like I said, the two classic curves that we have on SSLs. And then the other thing that we can do on here, which is brand new actually, this console, as we keep saying, is a digitally controlled analog console. So it gives us some flexibility that you don't get with a traditional analog console. So right next to the EQ section are 4 cut buttons. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cut buttons there. And those cut buttons are cutting the individual EQ bands. So those 4 bands are now cut using those 4 buttons there. That's why they're red. Red is cuts on SSLs. The other thing that I can do, in addition to cutting an EQ band, is I can solo an EQ band. So if I press and hold that button, it actually now solos that individual EQ band. So that's really useful if you're doing something precision, or if you just want to know what you're doing on that band versus the other bands. You can solo that, and you'll see when I solo it, it does a soft cut on the other band. So orange is soft cut, red is hard cut. So you can solo that out using that. So that's something that you can do in plugins, but this is actually doing it in an analog circuit in the analog console. So that's the EQ section there. Okay. Something else which is cool, I'll talk about this while we're in the same area, but you see as I'm touching these controls here, it's changing on the screen. I've got this navigator also on my channel tile. We call these tiles, so this is a channel tile. If I move this, you might see that it's actually got a little thing that's highlighting here, and I can go and, for instance here, I could even move a fader like this. So my control is actually moving a specific fader there on the console. Okay. So I can change my EQs using this control. If I wanted to, I can change this, or I can navigate. So basically this is called a navigator or a scroll wheel, and this goes through each individual object on the screen like that by spinning it, or if I want to, I can actually go through and change channels here and go through and toggle through the channels. So this is just like me doing the select here, it toggles through. So this is one of the ways in which I can do stuff quickly on this console.
Now, if you use that to toggle, is it toggling your faders and everything else along with it?
Well, all of this is really just for the detail view. So if we're toggling here, yeah, it just shows you the detail view basically. So it doesn't change anything other than what we're displaying on here. Okay. So we can see which one we're looking at, like I said, either by using the select button or by selecting it on here. There's some other stuff on the right hand side. We have the navigator, we have copy here. We can actually copy things from one channel to another. Maybe we'll get into that later, but basically you can copy, say from here, this channel here, I want to copy to these channels here, like so, and I can even do a range of them. So I don't have to, if I press the first one and press the last one, I can do a range. So now I'm saying copy from here to here, and I can choose what I'm copying. So I could choose different things. I could say, actually, all I want to do is copy my EQ. So I could copy my EQ, just have that highlighted, and then as soon as I hit apply, now press and hold apply, it's going to copy my EQ setting from that one channel to all of those channels right now. Oops, knock my mouse off. So that's a quick way of doing stuff. Again, this is one of the benefits of this console, is how quickly you can do things. So I can copy functions there, like that, using the copy function, and I can even do quick links as well. So let's say I wanted to link together a pair of channels. I could do that using the quick link button, and I could link those together, and you see the little link symbols. Then I'll come out of detail view so we can see that, but when I link two channels together, it does that there. So now if I move this fader, you can see it's linked it to its neighbour. If I move an EQ, it's moving the EQ together. It's like putting a rubber band between these two channels. Okay. All right. So that's.
So, but you still can't link odd channels.
No, in this mode you can. So this is just a control link. So yeah, you can link, if I wanted to, I can link all 8 channels. I can do as many as I want, basically. So yeah, this is linking the control. I think when you're doing the setup between the mono and the stereo channels, I mean, this would be a way you could do that actually if you wanted to. The only downside with this is you're using the real estate of multiple channels. But actually, in terms of audio processing, the console doesn't care either way, but you are linking the real estate of 2 channels together instead of just saying, hey, if this was a stereo pair, I'd probably just use a stereo pair. But this is good for grouping, this is good for different types of things. There's some interesting ways I've thought about using this, which I'm going to explore with immersive mixing. There's some cool stuff you can do here. So Quick Link basically links together different channels to do the same thing, and we've also got something called Process Link as well. And Process Link, for Process Links, we can choose not just everything. Quick Link does everything, but Process Links will we'll subdivide that into different options basically. So process links is kind of a more detailed, okay, I just want to link this, I don't want to link everything, but I just want to link this from one channel to another channel. So I'm going, like I say, I'm going to explore that a little bit more. There's some really interesting things that this has kind of brought about, is about the concept of mixing differently in terms of, we have some things, the org section is really big on this console, and there are different ways we could use that for immersive mixing. So, but for right now, this is how you get to it. Process links, you choose what it is that you want to link, and then you choose which channels you want to link it to, basically. So that's that. While we are, and few of these things right now are grayed out, and there's a reason for them being grayed out, and that's because future capabilities. So some of this stuff is going to start to become unlocked in the upcoming months. We've just come out with the software version right now. Last week we're going to be coming up with quite a few more. It's going to be a very big release in summertime this year, where we're going to unlock quite a few new options on this console.
Okay, hang on just a second.